What's going on? It's your boy Sermon at Sermon's Domain on Twitter. Rick Ross is back with his 8th studio album titled Black Market. A little background, this is his last album on Def Jam, so he's officially a free agent. And a couple interviews over the last few months, he's talked about he'll sign a deal with whoever gives him creative control. It's less about money to him. I'm sure that plays a huge role as well, but he really wants that creative freedom, and so whoever can offer him that, company with a good signing bonus is where he'll go. So it could be Def Jam, it could be Atlantic. He could go there with since Maybach Music's already over there. In the last few months, Rick Ross has really flooded the market. He put out Black Dollar in September. Then he put out his Renzel remixes, which was not a very good mixtape, and he put it out a week before Black Market came out. But getting into Black Market, let's get this stuff out of the way right now. Here's what you're gonna get out of damn near every Rick Ross project: is the production is gonna be top notch. It's gonna be memorable. It's gonna be good. And then of course you're gonna get some memorable lyrics. Rick Ross is a very smooth lyricist, I feel, and he's gotten a lot better over the years since he first started. So those are the cliches to get out of the way. There's a record called Ghostwriter, and that was the record that a lot of people were focused on when the track listing surfaced, because they thought, oh, maybe he's gonna, diss Drake for dissing Meek Mill. But that wasn't the case. Rick Ross was merely talking about his experiences as a ghostwriter. He calls himself one of the biggest ghostwriters in the last 10 years. So that's a huge boast. The record definitely reminds me of that record that Skills did, Ghostwriter, as well. In a sense, because Skills bleeped out names when he originally wrote the song, and Rick Ross does that too towards the end. The one thing I didn't like about the record is that it comes off a bit cliche, because he says it's lonely at the top. We've heard that so many times, and it wouldn't have been a big factor if he just said it in one of the verses, but that's part of the hook. So I was a little bit disappointed with that. And another record that suffers from that same kind of cliche is called Dope Rick Ross, I don't know. I just don't like the whole concept. I was reading his Billboard breakdown of the album. He was talking about how, that term, they kind of adopted it, differently than what it meant in the 80s. Basically what that meant in the 80s is having sex while on heroin. And now, obviously that's not what the term is represented as. But I still feel like it was a cliche. I feel like we've heard stuff like this. We've heard rappers compare their stuff to, drugs. It's nothing new. And it sucks because the hook really doesn't match the verses. So if you would have just replaced the hook and named it something else entirely, it would be an extraordinary record. I also wish that DJ Premier produced instead of just did some scratches. He's on Black Opium, and the record isn't produced by him. He just does the hook, the scratches, which is cool. It's cool to see them, work together, but I would have loved to have seen DJ Premier production. The intro, Free Enterprise, featuring John Legend. Now, going back to that Billboard breakdown, I remember Rick Ross was talking about how he wrote a few of these records when he was incarcerated over the summer, and that was one of the records that he worked on. And he talked about how he wanted to create a feeling, create a mood, this is him waking up, and all his dreams are being put onto the lyrics, into the paper, and he's breaking it down that way. And then the next record is called Smile Mama Smile, and one thing about Black Market is that it's a little bit more personal than Rick Ross's last albums. And Smile Mama Smile is the perfect example of that, because he talks about how his mom wants him to get off the promethazine, which I didn't even know Rick Ross was really using. And he was breaking that record down too, back to his incarceration, how after you think about all your dreams, all the stuff that you want to accomplish, then you're thinking about what's most important to you. And Rick Ross said, what's most important to me is, my family. He even, talks about his dad, which is something that he's never touched on ever. So It was a memorable record, and of course CeeLo beautifully does the hook. It's good to see them reunite after Tears of Joy. The other record that I wanted to highlight was called Crocodile Python, and I'm going back to this Billboard breakdown because I really feel it was very smart. I love when artists do breakdowns like this because it gives you more insight into how the album was created, why he did this, why they did that, stuff of that nature. So I'll include a link to that in the description below so you can read it for yourself. But Crocodile Python was my favorite record because the beat is so cold and it's so unexpected. It's so soulful. You don't think of Jaleel Beats as somebody that can craft something like this, so it came out of left field for me. And then I was reading something from my guy Yo over at DJ Booth where he said like the title is something that he'd expect out of a riff raff song, and that's definitely true. But in his breakdown, I wanted to read this part. He talks about why he named it Crocodile Python. He says that was a record that I wrote while incarnated on a small piece of paper with a small ink pen that was illegal at the time, but I had to have it. That's why the title was just so abstract and obnoxious. I was sitting in a pale room under light, 23 hours a day, and I just wanted to think most about the texture that I would love to see, and that's the first thing that came to mind. I'm trying to give them a real experience and give them some emotion that I'm feeling. So many things running through my mind, me questioning what's really going on. Am I doing the right thing? I mentioned my son's mom, mentioned the district attorneys. I discussed social racism and a lot of things in a way that walk by you if you're not really paying attention. And that quote right there just shows you how deep this album got. And when it's all said and done, I think it's a fitting end to his Def Jam, journey. And also one of his top 3 albums in his catalog, excluded mixtapes. And I like Black Dollar. I think it lives up to the hype that Black Dollar did, and then Black Market, exceeded that. I felt when I did a review for Black Dollar, I questioned if Rick Ross could overcome the stigma of him having a better mixtape than the album, as we saw with like Rich Forever and then God Forgives I Don't. And I think he definitely achieved that with Black Market. It sounds like something that continues from Black Dollar. So, mission accomplished there. Now I got 3 questions for you guys to spark discussion and all that. Where does Black Market rank in Ross's album catalog? I said it was top 3. I would love to know how you feel. Was Black Market better than Black Dollar? It's confusing ass titles. Let me know in the comment section. And lastly, what do you think Rick Ross will do next in his career? In terms of signing, in terms of, musically, he's done a lot so far. And, next year is his 10th anniversary of Port of Miami, so that's going to be a big one. I figure he'll do some kind of a big concert bash for that, which would be cool to see. But yeah, next, career moves, what are they? Do you think Rick Ross should sign to another major label, or you think he can be independent? Let me know in the comment section. Rick Ross put out 8 albums in 9 years. This ends his reign at Def Jam, like I said, and it's time for, something new, possibly. Black Dollar is a great album to his legacy. It doesn't take too many risks, but it adds a lot of personal feelings and emotions, so it's worth the listen. Rick Ross has perfected, that confident sound through his lyrics and beat choices. And I didn't even talk about Color Money, the whole Birdman diss and all that. I don't think it's gonna be a significant factor next week. That's why I didn't talk about it. But once you listen to Black Market, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and then like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're not already, share the video, follow me on Twitter at Sermons Domain. As always, thank you for your time. I appreciate you for watching, and until next time, peace.